Live from the Spill Studios located off the I-35 interchange, it's time once again for A Couple of Cold Ones with Corey and Carla.
So that's the official opening now, live off the I-35 interstate?
Any number of
gateway,
things.
whatever. What
yeah.
do you?
My other thing is the I-35 corridor. That was the word I was
That's
searching
the one
for.
you are,
But,
yeah.
it's Sunday night. What the fuck do you expect from me, all right?
Hey, you know what I expect from you? This is what I expect. First of all, I expect a whole lot of suggestions out of you because I've been recommending Halloween stuff for a lot of things right now, and so I'm just gonna make this show about you. I want to hear what
It's
your
all about
suggestions
me.
are.
Yay!
Yeah. I have no more to recommend. I've gone through as much as I might have one or two things I can talk about, but mostly
I think I've seen a couple of movies. I might be able to talk about something.
Yeah, more than two, a handful. So, of course, we're going to go through the top 5, and then we'll go ahead and get into your picks. Some movies you were telling me about, I have not heard of. I'm interested in hearing what these are, or what these are about.
But before we get on to that, it's time once again for the top 5, brought to you by Spill.
Damn, man, how much coffee have you had tonight?
I have had a pot of coffee.
And that is good. I like that.
That is good.
Wait a minute, hold on. I'm going to test. Okay, I am on the right mic. Never mind. Here, okay, we're good to go.
All right, then, number 5.
Number 5. Oh, we jumping right into it.
Number 5.
I didn't get a chance to breathe. Look at you. Number 5. Pride and Glory.
Pride and Glory, man. You know what? I am so not disappointed to see this movie down at the bottom of the top 5. It did really piss poor this weekend.
Yeah, 6.3 million.
As well it should have. It really isn't a good movie. It's going to be forgotten here in 3 weeks.
What's going on, man? Are people just mimicking each other with these cop films? You mentioned that it looked like We Own the Night. That
We
movie
Own the
with,
Night.
What's it? Walking Phoenix.
Yeah, I
Joaquin
think
Phoenix.
I refer to that as We Own the Night too, subletting the night. It was, I think it's one of those things where people keep trying to make the cop drama in a film, and they just don't realize that we've seen it. It's been done, and the only place that's working is on television. But I keep thinking that you've got all these writers they're watching The Shield, they're watching The Wire, and they're saying, I can do that. And it's like, no, those things work because they're in long form. The short form, you either make a movie about cops tracking down criminals or make a movie about a home life. Don't try to mix them together because it just isn't working.
And we've seen them all before. I mean, we've seen everything they can do within this genre right now, unless they can do something different. I mean, even Pacino and De Niro couldn't bring anything new to it.
The reason why something like The Shield works is because you watch these characters over such a long period of time that it allows you to make big swings. And you can pull twists without having to do it in the 2-hour format.
Well, let's not mention that at the end of every episode, there's a hell of a cliffhanger.
Sure.
And you want to see what happens. I mean, with these movies, they give us nothing. We've seen them all before.
So
anyway, we got that out the way. So
number 4.
Got your favorite movie here, the Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
It's still there, man.
It ain't going anywhere.
It's not, and it's really depressing because a much better kids film came out after that and just
brought
vanished.
in 6.9 million this week, and that movie's already up to shit, man. That movie's almost made $80 million, 78.1 million.
Yep, no, it's doing decently.
I mean, nobody's surprised by this. The only thing I'm surprised by that it hasn't made more money in a quicker amount of time, but whatever. You know what I am surprised about is how well this movie is held.
Number 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got one more in there? Okay, there it is.
3.
Max Payne.
Max Payne.
Yeah, 7.6 million this weekend, up to 29.7 million. And a lot of people are still going to see this movie, man. I'm surprised because it really was not that good of a movie.
No, everyone I've talked to just gives me that sad, shaking head look. Like, because for some reason people walked into this with hope. Like, hey, I really like the game. Maybe the movie will be. Oh,
yeah.
I keep telling you guys, I don't care how fucking good the game is. The movie's going to suck. The only thing that is an exemption is if they actually make Bioshock. And if it is actually made by Gore Verbinski. You take somebody who really knows how to do something like that and get real life to it, then you will end up with a film that is interesting and fun to watch. It's just not – you can't adapt this stuff.
Oh, I'm worried about – have you ever played Bioshock? You know the story behind it?
I know the story behind it.
Okay.
I just haven't played it.
I mean, if you can't bring, look, and I am convinced that one day we will hit upon that video game movie that will actually make a great movie. But right now, Bioshock is such a crazy game. For all you people out there, Bioshock is a video game with, as you said, Gore Verbinski, who Pirates of the Caribbean, The Ring. I'm excited to see what he'll do, but that story is so crazy. Outside of a video game, I don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah, and we'll see. But I am fully confident that he can make it work because this is the guy that made a fucking theme park ride work as a movie.
If they get a good script, but even with a script is so far-fetched, it's about a city.
Oh, I know.
Under the sea, man.
It's an existential horror thriller. It's about a city under the sea, and it's got all this Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged bullshit going on.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's crazy.
I mean, from the very beginning, it's like, how can you build a fucking city under the sea and nobody notices? I mean, you know how much technology that would require? I know suspense of disbelief. This is
classic Corey. This is you can't wrap your head around it without asking like the little logical. It's called science fiction. Look into it, my man.
No, it's called give me some suspension of disbelief that I can buy into. I mean, really, with this kind of movie, I mean, you really have to play the game. I love the game, so I'm not even trying to like argue with this. But in a fantasy setting, or if they explained a little bit more, I could accept it as science fiction. But I mean, it's a guy. Just listen to what I'm saying here. I don't believe. I mean, I can buy into building a city underneath the sea, but this is a guy who secretly goes off and builds a city underneath the sea,
and he's a genius.
Even if you're a genius, you got to have a lot of people to build a city underneath the sea. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, dude. It's science fiction, and I'm looking for. It's about a guy in a suit with a drill. You know what? I'm there. If it's Gore Verbinski, I'm there. If it's not, it's probably gonna suck. So, but let's move on.
Actually, your hero's not the guy in the suit with the drill. Those are called the Big Daddies. I'm just nerding out right now. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nerding out, which leads us to number 2.
Oh, and that's a nice ominous number 2 right there. Because
Corey Coleman, you have 5 minutes to dig somebody else's penis out of your stomach, or you'll die.
To dig somebody, damn, that's a pretty.
Dude, the jigsaw's messed up, dude. So of course, number 2 is Saw 5.
So not only do I suck, but I bite down pretty hard and swallow.
Well, you never know with Jigsaw. Jigsaw puts you in some pretty messed up things, and they really got to keep getting weirder and weirder to make this fucking thing work.
Did you? I mean, okay. Have you seen anything past number 1? Any of these Saw movies?
I've seen the first 3.
Okay, so you've seen the first 3.
Yes.
All right. The last 2 are goddamn ridiculous, man. I mean, they have to bring Tobin Bell, who's Jigsaw, back because everybody wants to see Jigsaw, but they killed him in the third one.
Well, they didn't actually totally kill him, but they pretty close to killed him.
No, they killed him. He's dead. It's because what they're doing with the last 2 movies is they're bringing him back in flashback. I mean, they had it in the fourth one. They had his ass down.
I remember he was dying, but
no, they dissected him like a fucking frog in science class. I mean, they have him down on a slab. They cut him open.
Oh, is that dead. 4?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I haven't seen 4. So at the end of 3, he's bleeding out. And
they cut that fucker open. He's dead. I mean, there ain't no way around that.
Okay.
So what they do is they keep bringing him back in flashback, and it's beginning to get more far fetched because we don't have Jigsaw alive anymore. Who else can we bring in to take his place? And the way they explain that shit is crazy. So what they're left with is to make, as you say, the traps more gruesome, more crazy. And it's at a point now where they should just make a movie with nothing but the traps. Pull out the plot. We don't need that.
Well, you know.
But
you know what? I would not be surprised if we're going to see the end of this franchise.
Why is that?
Well, the thing is first of all, they've got contracts. They've already paid people to make these movies. The writers were hired back when 3 was made to write 4, 5, and 6. It's the same guys.
They mentioned at the time, they were saying, because we want to release one every Halloween now. Yeah.
But Lionsgate has just had a huge shakeup. They've had an incredibly huge shakeup. One of the main producers is out. The head guy is saying, you know what, we want to move away from horror and get back to putting out real serious, good independent films. We want to become like Fox Searchlight or Miramax. We're tired of being like Dimension. Because it used to be the place where you went and had those kind of films, but then they got successful with picking up these independent horror films.
Yeah.
And several producers there became, pushing horror and made them very successful. But now they want to step away from horror. And in fact, they've actually screwed a whole chunk of their horror films. They had 3 genre films that, because one producer was attached to it and he's out now, all these films got screwed. One is the one that a lot of people talk about, Midnight Meat Train.
Oh, yeah, the Clive Barker movie.
2 other ones are The Burrowers, which is a really awesome...
The Western.
Yeah, really awesome horror Western. And then, of course, the guy who directed several of the Saw movies, bringing it back around.
What, James Wan?
Repo the Genetic Opera.
James Wan did the first one. I'm sorry.
But Repo the Genetic Opera also got screwed in that.
Oh, really? Yeah. Because that really needed some backing behind it.
Yeah, they're like going to release it in 3 cities and then dump it on video. It's really sad because even though I wasn't a fan of it, the people who are going to love this are going to love the shit out of it.
No, I already hear people who saw it, like, you're not going to like this, but some people who downloaded it and they're like, man, I got to get the soundtrack to this. I love this movie. And yeah, apparently it's built up quite a fan base before it's even released.
This is one of those movies that even though, I really hate...
what, Saw?
No. Even though I really hate piracy, it's one of those things that I'm not feeling too bad about the people who download it, because those people are going to go out and buy the soundtrack. They're going to buy the t-shirts. They're going to buy this DVD. They're going to buy the special edition 10-year anniversary DVD, because the people who love this are going to want to spend money on it. And it's going to become one of those cult films to where they're going to buy dolls and they're going to buy lunch boxes, and it's going to be...
I know there's not the merchandising behind Wreck with the piracy, but they did help that movie gain a little bit of notoriety on the internet. So, I mean, piracy is... Look, I'm not going to get into... Okay, we'll get into that.
Let's move back to Saw 5, which made $30 million this weekend.
Yeah, and nobody's surprised. They knew it was going to make money.
Well, but this is the same amount that they've made every year.
But that's enough. That's like, hey...
No. I mean, they make this thing for $1 million, $2 million, and then it makes an assload. It is nothing but profit, but I think... number 6, which comes out next year, is going to be the last one. And
they're already making number 6. They've already got it going.
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny that you should mention that about Lionsgate, because when they started getting high on the, big on the Tyler Perry movies and some other dramas that they were bringing out, people were saying, wait a minute, Lionsgate, that's the horror company, isn't it? So I could see why they would want to kind of move away from that.
Yep. They want to get back to doing, other indie stuff. And it's not a bad idea. I mean, Lionsgate really did kind of tarnish their reputation by picking up a lot of bad stuff and forcing a lot of bad stuff down our throat because it was profitable over a lot of their, in the late 90s, early 2000s, they were one of those companies that when you saw it, it meant quality. And,
well, even their logo right now reflects what was going on in the Saw movies. You remember Lionsgate used to be like a nice, simple white font with a line, I think, like a gate. And it looked like a chess piece. And now it's like Lionsgate. It has like big green
gears and it's like you're like going through this big giant machine. It's Lionsgate. We have the biggest cock in film. And it's,
I was surprised they didn't have like a lion come out of there, like a big demon lion. But yeah, you're right about that. I mean, and I think a lot of people are confused now. So this might not be a bad idea to balance that shit out. But $30 million, you're right about that.
And it's making less every year, but like marginally less. Like last year it made 31.7 million, and this year it made 30.9 million. Although I have a strong sneaking suspicion that more people saw this one than saw it last time, because this time there was a kids movie you could pay to get into.
And sneak into
Saw. And this movie did mysteriously well. And that would be our number 1 movie. Number 1, graduation day, number 1. Boy, you finally come out with a 3rd one.
Stroking that mic, boy. Look at you.
I'm thinking about Zac Efron, who apparently, as I hear from Kent, is, quite a piece of ass.
Kent said this?
Oh, yeah. Didn't you read my blog about that? Yeah, Kent is all about the High School the Musical 3. I don't know who Zac Efron is, but she must be hot if Kent, because Kent just kept going, dude, I want to tap that ass. And I'm like, wow, this Zac Efron chick must be cool. Because I've seen Vanessa Hudgens, and she's, a piece. But...
Look at you. Kent would never say that. In fact, Kent jumped on me for
whoa, slow down there. I don't think Zac Efron is a guy, man.
He paid though, but no, he got on me about giving this movie an okay review. But we're talking about High School Musical 3, senior year, and This movie made a whopping $42 million, man. Wow.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, and it, from what I hear, it makes no goddamn sense whatsoever.
What, the movie?
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. It just feels like a TV movie. I mean, I had no doubt that it would do well, and because it's a harmless movie that people love and has a fan base of millions already on TV. So Disney said, you know what, we're going to release this theatrically because if we have this many people who are willing to watch it on TV, they'll pay to see it, and they did.
Yeah, they will, and they did.
And it
yeah,
makes
this
sense.
was no surprise. I mean, this was going to be, you know, make money hand over fist.
Oh yeah, and man, you know what? I saw it. It like I said, it's a TV movie, but it wasn't terrible.
Are you looking forward to College Musical?
See, everybody said, you know what? They're done. They graduate. They're not going to make any more. And I was like, no, they'll do two things. And that was one of them that they'll say college freshman or something like that. Or they'll do high school freshman, the High School Musical freshman year with a new batch of kids.
Oh, yeah. No, they'll do that. And then it will fail miserably, as all those spinoffs often do.
It'll be like Grease 2.
If you doubt me, I dare you to go back and look up Saved by the Bell, the college years. And
oh, yeah. No.
oh, wow. And then Saved by the Bell, the new class.
You know something, though? That's with Disney, I wouldn't doubt if they pulled it off. I mean, I'm not saying I'm looking forward to another one or anything like that, but I wouldn't doubt if they found some way to do it because those guys
are you into that
marketing geniuses.
Are you into that Zac Efron girl?
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. And you can call me Gary you want to, but that Zac Efron, he's a handsome guy. I mean,
he's a guy? Dude, Kent, we need to talk.
But what got me,
I had no idea you were, you know.
But hey, have you seen those pictures of Vanessa Hudgens?
No, I don't have Google at my house. I've never seen those. Yeah, no, actually I do. There were lots of articles written at the time, and I was actually, you know what? I gotta say, I gotta give it up to her. I threw a couple of elbows at the time that those came out. In fact, I think I wrote a blog about it way back in the day. But she was right about to have this big kind of media blitz, and she was ready to do a whole bunch of talk shows all at once and kind of come out and be the star. And the week that happened, these pictures broke. And a lot of us were sitting there going, this is exactly what happened with Paris Hilton, that this video mysteriously came out right before she's going to do the
so
late.
You're thinking like this was done on purpose.
And I was thinking that, but then she canceled everything and they totally, they pulled out of the big rollout. And so she didn't go and do this big media push after all. So it really did come across as one of those, wow, that guy was kind of a douche for doing that.
Yeah, who did that? Who put those pictures out there?
I assume it was the ex-boyfriend.
So it was an ex-boyfriend that took it.
I think so.
Zac
you know what?
Efron
I don't even know this. I doubt it was Zac Efron. I don't think Zac Efron's ever seen a girl naked.
No, I think I think these two are pretty tight. Vanessa Hudgens and Zac Efron.
I think they're lying.
Okay, I mean,
she looks like a beard to me.
Hey, look, I won't be surprised by anything, but all I know is they're saying that they're together, and good for him if that's the case because she's hot.
Of course they're saying they're together.
But you know what makes me pissed is that a lot of people are saying, not a lot of people, but one person emailed me and said, I am really disturbed by her behavior. I really hate that her behavior has gone this way, and she shouldn't be doing any of these movies. I'm like, you know what? She took, in the privacy of her own home, some naked pictures for a guy that she liked. There's nothing wrong with her behavior.
And the thing is if you look at those pictures, there are candles lit all around, and it's not posing pictures. That's clearly, she was getting into bed with her guy.
Wait a minute, the picture I saw was a posing picture. I mean, she was laying it all out there.
Well, except that no, the pictures that I saw weren't poses. I mean, she was standing there, but they weren't exactly candids, but they weren't, hey, we've set up this scene to take sexy pictures. No, this was a boyfriend in the bedroom who's just had sex, who was about to have sex with his girlfriend. It's like, hey, would you do something for me? Can I promise I won't show them to anyone, baby. It's no.
Exactly.
No, trust me. I'll delete them off my camera as soon as we're done.
Look, should young girls be looking at this? No. I mean, is her posing nude? I mean, is this a hint of sexuality there? But is this bad behavior? No, she was posing naked for her boyfriend. The people do this shit all the time. That's not crazy behavior. I mean, you young girls who are thinking that she's some bad role model, wait until you do shit for your boyfriend.
Hell, Cyrus did it for Leon.
Exactly. I mean, there you go. And they took video.
Yeah,
it's moving.
Let me tell you, bleach cannot wash the stains from your eyes after seeing that.
It kind of looked like Leon, kind of like Cyrus talking into a microphone with Leon's hands. But no, people, leave them. Don't be so judgmental, okay? If she had done it on purpose, that'd be one thing. But yeah, come on, leave her alone. Yeah. But anyway, there you go.
That movie did really well. Although it's interesting, it did so well on Friday that they altered the projections and they said, "Wow, we thought it was going to do 40 million, but after Friday we know that it's going to do 60 million," and then it did 42 million. Where it's like, oh, we've got kind of a steep drop off.
Yeah.
Because everybody went to see it on the first day, and people went and saw it again, but it didn't do the business they thought it would after the big explosion on Friday. So, but it still did well.
Yeah, no,
so congratulations to that, and we look forward to the drop off next week.
Yeah, what's coming out next week? Real quick before we jump into something else.
Oh God, I think Changeling opens up in more markets.
Yeah,
and Rachel Getting Married comes out.
Yeah,
in several markets, and God, you know what? I don't even know.
Does Role Models come out?
No, that's November 7th, I believe.
Okay, so that's a while from now.
Yeah, we got 2 weeks before Role Models comes out.
All right, damn, that's next week's gonna be a slow week, man.
Well, it's you don't release much on Halloween. On a Halloween weekend, people don't go and see movies as much. They go out to parties. They go and do other things. They go to haunted houses. It's not a big moneymaker weekend, so
yeah,
you don't want to open your Blockbuster because if anyone who wants to go see a movie on Halloween weekend wants to see a scary movie.
Yeah, man. Zach and Miri make a porno.
Oh, shit. You're right. Week. God, I saw it so long ago. I totally forgot. Yeah, no, that comes out this week. Yeah, we need to record this week for that, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do.
That's a good fucking movie.
Tomorrow night we will record for it. We'll get that done early. What's that?
Oh, we'll talk about that later. I can't make it tomorrow night.
Oh, what happened?
We'll talk about it later.
Okay, all right.
No, I've got plans already, so.
Okay. All right, then. Well, let's see. Moving on.
So maybe I won't be in this week's reviews, folks. We'll find out later.
We'll see. I mean, if you're not, we'll do something special with you.
Something special.
Yeah, exactly. Because I want to get your opinion on it.
I'll get the Zac Efron treatment.
And what would that be?
We'll light candles. I'll get the camera.
I have to say, man, that movie is really one of the gayest things I've ever seen.
I watched 2 of the scenes online, and it just made me. I was just like, I can't fault kids for loving it because when I was a kid, I loved Grease 2, and I don't know if you've ever seen. Grease.
No, I've seen Grease 2. You love Grease 2?
When I was like 8, yeah. Okay. My sister had it on videotape, and she showed it. She watched it all the time, and I was like, I'm a cool rider. COOLRIDE.
By the way, Grease 2 is one of those notoriously
let's not
bad
tell people
sequels.
about it.
It is so bad. Grease 2 is terrible.
I saw it in a theater here a few years ago. They played it. They played it at the Alamo Drafthouse.
Did they do it for like Mr. Sinus?
No, it was a sing along.
Oh, sing along. Okay.
And that was so much fun. I went with surprisingly 2 of my friends who are actually gay. They were like, "Oh, you love that movie too?" It's like, "Yeah, let's go see it." And then I realized I was like the straight guy, in the audience. But no, the thing was there were a lot of girls my age there too, so that was also kind of cool. So, but it was, it's such a terrible movie.
Yeah.
But it's one of those that I was like, oh my God, I know the words to every one of these fucking songs. Shit.
Maybe there's something you want to find out about yourself.
No, I watched it. My sister literally watched that film every day.
To the point that it made you gay?
To the point that it made me memorize the songs,
Well, I can't say anything. I'm in here watching High School Musical 3 by myself.
You actually, as a grown-ass man, went to High School Musical 3
but I did
by
that as a
yourself.
Job. I did it as a job, though.
And you wore a trench coat.
It doesn't matter what I wore. I got paid to see it.
See, now, I'm not gonna bust your balls for it because I went and I took the bullet on Bratz.
Oh, that's right.
But for Christ's sake, at least I said Bratz was bad. You're like, it's not that bad.
Well, come on, we're talking about High School Musical 3 and Bratz. Bratz is terrible.
Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah.
And I tell you something. It's funny. You talk about Zac Efron. No matter how many times Zac Efron hugs up on Vanessa Hudgens in the movie, you still think he's screwing around with that black kid, the movie Corbin Blue. It's like they're so close. It's like, hey bro, you gonna leave me? You're gonna go to college? I'm like, y'all are fucking, man. It's like, come on, you ain't fooling anybody.
But what about that time after band practice?
Yeah, it's like y'all pull some fucking Brokeback Mountain shit with each other, where like one guy needs to move on, the other guy's like, I don't want you to go. It's like, fuck you, man. Come on, this movie's gonna be playing in gay clubs everywhere. Hey, good for the children.
Why can't I quit you?
Except they break out in song. Why can't I quit you?
Why you gotta go away to college? In the experimental years of our life, it's time to come out together tonight.
Rub your hair on my stomach. All right, enough silliness. We got a musical we can make. Hey, let's make ours. Let's rewrite High School Musical 3 and perform. But we won't cast ourselves, though. We'll cast Leon and Sarah.
No, that'll be College Musical.
The experimental years.
Experimental years.
Nice. Anyway. All right, enough of that nonsense. Let's move on to some of your big Halloween picks. Because you're telling me about some movies I hadn't heard of before. I am interested.
Well, that's one of the things. Is every year, it's one of those things when you do this business, when you do this for a job, every year you got to write the same piece. And every year you get the same questions. I get emails from friends. I get, private messages, things like that, where people are saying, hey, can you recommend a scary movie to me? I was like, well, yeah, I can, but odds are you've seen it. And if you go, go ahead and Google top 20 horror films or top 50 horror films. There's tons of lists. Everybody wants to give their opinion. The movies are all the fucking same. Every top 20 list is the same. It's all the same movies. It's Jaws, Alien, Suspiria, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Omen, The
Exorcist.
The Exorcist. That was the one I was looking for. They're all the same movies every time. So you can say, oh, have you seen The Omen? Yeah. Have you seen Nightmare on Elm Street? Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for something, Google that. And if there's something on those lists that you haven't seen, if you haven't seen The Thing, fucking see The Thing. I mean, on these lists, odds are it's a really good movie and you should see it. So what I do every year is I try to find those films that nobody's seen, or that so few people have seen that are really worth seeing. And I've got my classic that every year I recommend, and that's The Changeling. Now, this year there's going to be some confusion because they're putting out Changeling, which is a completely different movie.
I knew there was another movie called The Changeling. All right.
The Changeling, 1980 with George C. Scott.
And it's the little creatures that they're breeding or something?
No. It's a ghost story. It's a story. It's a haunted house movie about a guy who moves into a house that's haunted by a 6-year-old kid.
I'm thinking of The Brood. I'm sorry.
The Brood.
Yeah, The
Brood. No, this isn't The Brood. It's a classic, creepy as hell ghost story about a 6-year-old kid haunting a house, and it is so fucking good. I just showed this to a group of friends last weekend who hadn't seen it. We have this little group that gets together and watch movies every 2 weeks. And it was like, oh, dude, you haven't seen The Changeling? Okay, it's Halloween. I'm showing everybody The Changeling. And everybody loved it. It's very slow, but it's really incredible. If you've never seen The Changeling, clearly.
No, I have not.
Dude, go out and rent it this week. You're going to watch it and you're going to love it because it is just a good, creepy, classic character piece. And there's so many good scares in this movie and so many creepy scenes that have been ripped off by other movies but still are just done masterfully in this. There's a seance scene that's it's creepy twice.
Damn, so
seriously, like
therefore it's twice as creepy.
No, like they play back the seance and it gets even fucking creepier the second time around. It's so good. So check that out, the Changeling.
All right, The Changeling. I'm writing this down. Check out The Changeling. Okay,
really good. Yeah, don't say that and then pretend. I love you. You're not actually writing this, but see the thing
is, that's how I memorize things. I write it down in air letters.
Yeah. What you did is you pretended to write in your hand The Changeling as if you were going to fool me.
But and
I'm the only one here.
But I wrote it down in my head while I did that. I made a mental note. That helps me. Go ahead, please.
But check it out. It's good.
The Changeling? Okay.
Now, for those of you that are like, oh, I've seen The Changeling. Give me something a little, harder to find. Okay. I've got an import for you guys. Now, you guys in Britain are going to be able to find this very easily because it was released there. But here in the States, you got to import it. It's a film called The Cold Hour. Now, in Britain, it's called The Dark Hour for some reason, but it's called The Cold Hour, La Hora Fria. It's a Spanish film that played at Fantastic Fest last year, and it's so freaking good. It is the story of...
What's it called?
The Cold Hour.
The Cold Hour, okay.
It is the story of of the end of the world. It's a post-apocalyptic film told through the eyes of an 8-year-old boy who's living underground with some of the last members of what he believes to be humanity. And it is the story of them trying to survive against something. And it is just so good. It's one of those films that just gets better and better as you watch it. And then the last 10 seconds of the film are one of the biggest, best, twisty fuck yous ever. That you cannot see this thing coming. And you're just like, holy shit.
Now, wait a minute. It's a post-apocalyptic movie told through the eyes of an 8-year-old kid?
Yeah. And it's a post-apocalyptic horror film. And it's just so good. It's all about them trying to survive against these unnatural things. And it is just such a good, creepy, solid film. If you have not seen this movie, you need to track this one down.
Where's
this
it
is
from?
One of my favorites. It's from Spain.
From Spain. Damn, Spanish, boy. They do
Dude,
some...
the Spanish are exploding right now. They are just
And when did this come
incredible.
out?
Well, it opened in Spain last year about this time. It played at Fantastic Fest last year. And then it's been slowly coming out all over the world on DVD. And I know that it's been in Britain for at least 6 months. So you can in the UK you can find it in your video stores under the Dark Hour.
The Dark Hour or the Cold Hour. Mm-hmm. I'll check that out. Now, see, I'm making an air mental note right. The Cold Hour.
It's a really good movie.
The Cold Hour. I got it.
Now I heard that that a little robot friend of ours suggested Night of the Scarecrow.
I was telling you this before we recorded. Co-host was saying how he saw it on TV and how you can't find it anywhere, but he said the last 10 minutes of that movie scared the shit out of him.
Yeah, that is a movie I've been hearing about for years. Like, because that was one of those made-for-TV horror films back when they actually made for TV movie of the week.
Of course, yeah, yeah. And that's what he said. It was a TV movie, and I was like, wow, that's pretty hardcore for a TV movie.
And it's one of those that's notorious because people want to find it and they can't. And it's one of those that I'm sure the rights are probably tied up in some weird, crazy thing, because that happens all the time where there's a movie that, for some reason, somebody buys the rights to it, and that person vanishes off the face of the earth, and nobody can find them. That's what happened with Angus. That's why you can't find Angus on DVD, is because some guy in like Norway.
Now, what is Angus?
Or Iceland. Oh, it's just a cool high school movie from 1996. That's a really good little film, but you can't find it because some guy from like Iceland bought the rights, and the director can't find him. But no, so, Night of the Scarecrow is weird that he recommended that because it's like, nobody's going to find that film. But you reminded me because there's another film like that, another made-for-TV movie.
Although that movie is going to be coming out, probably, I don't know when, but it's coming out on DVD.
It's been for years it was supposed to come out. It's one of those that has just vanished.
Okay, that's what he was saying, yeah.
I hope so, because I would really like to see this, and I hope it holds up, because everybody every 6 months or so I get an email in which somebody's like, dude, can you help me remember this movie? It's about this and this and has a scarecrow. I'm like, it's called Night of the Scarecrow, and you can't find it. The only reason I know about it is because people like you keep emailing me about it, asking me if I know about it.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of a little film that you would never heard of.
What is that?
Another made-for-TV horror film from the same period of time, like 1978, called Killdozer.
Okay, yeah, I was asking you about that. What is that?
Killdozer is one of the worst movies ever fucking made. It is awful. It was a made-for-TV movie filled mostly with filler about, and get this, stay with me here, it's about a meteorite that falls from outer space and hits a bulldozer.
Oh my! Okay, is this going where I think it's going?
This is, and it's called Killdozer. Can you imagine what the rest of the film's about? It's about a killer bulldozer that drives around by itself and runs people over, who just kind of stand there screaming until it hits them. It's so bad.
A meteor brings a bulldozer to life. Then, oh my God! All right,
and it's available on YouTube.
Now I've heard everything.
You could find it on YouTube, or at least you used to be able to. I can't imagine that somebody would argue it on YouTube. I did about 10 years ago when IMDb had first started up. I started a thread and was compiling a list of the worst movies ever. So at the time, IMDb didn't have a bottom 100, and that kind of inspired them to. I don't know if that directly inspired them, but within a short period of time, there was a bottom 100, and I was compiling a list and had everybody, on the forums sending me emails saying, hey, let me know what your list is of the top 10 worst movies ever made. and everybody's list had Killdozer on it. That's how I found out about it. I'm like, what the fuck is Killdozer? So I had to track it down and find a bootleg of it. And man, is it fucking awful.
I'm amazed with a high concept like Killer Bulldozer that came to life from a comet.
But it's
how
literally
that could go wrong.
It's how. But when you watch it, you see that it's even worse than you can imagine because the production values on it are just awful. There's like literally minutes and minutes of footage of a bulldozer driving itself across fields. It's so fucking awful.
Nice. So we get to see a bulldozer just drive around when not even killing people. Just
at times, not even killing people.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
So,
and,
but
and you're recommending this.
No, not at all. Unless you're one of those people who want to see one of the worst movies ever made. Killdozer is it. So, I mean, definitely check that out. Now, other things that I recommend. If you haven't seen, there's a film that came out last year and it's on DVD now, called, why the fuck did I just forget its name?
Never heard of it.
I'm going to move on to another film that's exactly the same way. Hatchet.
Oh, Hatchet. Yeah.
Hatchet, a great fun slasher film.
Co-host loves that movie.
Yeah, no, have you seen it?
No, I have not.
Dude, I'll lend it to you. It's really fucking good.
Yeah, I asked him if I could borrow his copy, and I haven't.
It's just a fun, good old-fashioned 80s slasher movie. It was made by a guy named Adam Green, and Adam is a huge fan of slasher movies and hated that point in the 80s where it went from we were trying to make serious slasher movies to fuck it, let's just go crazy, and hates the really stupid, terrible slasher movies. And so he wanted to go back to that era and make a fun, serious, funny slasher movie. That's a really funny film, and it's just really well made. I definitely recommend that. And then, of course, another fun one is Abominable.
Is that the 80s movie where...
No, this was another one made a couple years back.
But have you heard of an 80s movie called Abominable where a girl gives birth to like some deformed kid who, of course, grows up to be like some hideous killer?
No.
Okay, maybe it might have a different name, but go ahead with yours.
Abominable is literally about Bigfoot. It's Rear Window with Bigfoot instead. And
so what, Bigfoot is somebody's neighbor going to his job?
No, a guy is in a wheelchair and he's in his cabin in the woods and he sees Bigfoot
kill somebody.
And Bigfoot kills people. And there's there's a group of young often naked college girls in the cabin next to his who start getting picked off one by one. And it's a fun movie. It's just a good old-fashioned fun time. They showed it on Sci-Fi Channel. The Sci-Fi Channel picked it up as one of their sci-fi originals.
See, when you describe it as Bigfoot in Rear Window, I picture a guy in a wheelchair at home, seeing Bigfoot across the street, hosting parties, having a good time, living in the house, and then he thinks, hey, that Bigfoot killed somebody. Everybody likes him, but he's mysterious.
Not exactly.
Okay. Which would make an awesome, badass movie if that was the case, too. But so what is the movie that you can't remember?
God, I hate that the title totally vanished from my head. It was another movie put out by Anchor Bay, and it was a documentary about a serial killer. And I was trying to move past it so you wouldn't ask me about it again.
It's a documentary. Is it a fake documentary?
Yeah, it's a fake documentary about a serial killer, and is
the name of it like it's the Mask of Jordy somebody or something like that? Does that make sense?
Yes, it's the Behind the Mask. That's
Behind the Mask.
Behind the
there
Mask.
You go. Yeah,
Behind the Mask, and it is such a cool, weird, quirky film. It's about a crew who tracks down a guy who's a serial killer. But not just a serial killer, he's actually one of those movie stalker serial killers. He's like Jason and Freddy, and he's got this whole myth behind him, and they track him down. Yeah. And he shows them how he sets up his thing and make it come across like he's actually supernatural. And it's so freaking good. It's because this guy isn't supernatural. But he's got a whole philosophy behind what he does. But everybody
thinks he is. Like he's
but everyone
Jason
thinks he is because the way he trains and the way he teaches you how he sets up the house and sets up all the kills before it happens just by predicting human nature. And look, what's going to happen is there's a mattress upstairs in this house. And I know that one of the couples is going to go up there. So when the couple goes up there, here's what I'm going to do. And I've got this already set up, and I'm going to be waiting here, and and predicting, and this is when I cut the power, and it's so cool, and it's funny, and it's creepy, and it's actually good. So that one, Behind the Mask, check that out. These are all. There's a nice gamut there. There's something you haven't seen in there, I absolutely assure you. And then, of course, I can't believe none of you guys mentioned Rec.
Well, I mean, I've mentioned Rec so much that everybody knows. It's so obvious that I didn't want to say anything.
But now, isn't it supposed to be out now? Isn't it on video or something? Isn't it on DVD?
I think in a couple of more months.
They're holding it off till the DVD release of quarantine.
It seems so, yeah. So. Yeah, but of course, Rec, people, you've heard me talk about it, Spanish movie about people trapped in an apartment building. There's an outbreak of some sort of disease that makes people rampaging zombies, and it's a really cool movie. Speaking of documentaries, it does follow that whole documentary format.
It's actually not the documentary format as much as it's the found footage format.
Yeah,
it's exactly. Like Cloverfield, but it's like Cloverfield and Blair Witch Project, except that because the main character shooting the thing is actually a trained cameraman, you don't suffer from shaky cam.
Oh, some people still say that, though, that they look at this and they're like,
yeah, but that's because people want something to bitch about. They want, it's shaky. Dude, the camera stays still. You don't even know what fucking shaky cam is. Shaky cam was fucking Blair Witch Project, where it was all over the fucking place. You couldn't even see what was on the screen.
And as much as I like Cloverfield, that was a lot of people said, man, I'm getting motion sickness from this. So,
well, some people do, but it's like 4% of the population gets motion sickness from films.
Shit, and I know all of them apparently. So because all my friends are bitching about, man, I threw up after that. Oh, forget the fucking complaining. But yeah, we were talking about this. What happened was I did a quick thing with Cyrus on his show, Leog, because they thought I was like Walking Dead, and I would come in and talk about it. I couldn't even hang with that because they were just getting real.
Oh, dude, those guys out nerd you when it comes to comic books. They out nerd everybody when it comes to comic books. I'm not even, like I said, I do not keep up with comics these days. I buy them, I read a little bit, but I don't try to. What can I tell you? They can't out nerd me, but when it comes to comic books, they can.
Yep, apparently so. Yes, Leon and Cyrus together. But we did talk about movies, and I did talk about one movie. If you want to see something that is truly horrifying, and they're not even killing people for real, but they're killing animals for real, is the Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, dude,
we talk about
we've talked about this before.
Yeah,
and it's not a movie. I prefer not to mention this movie because it really is one of those movies that will fuck you up for life.
Yeah, but I think that's why somebody should see it, because I saw it.
If you are willing to be fucked up for life, if cinematically you want to be fucked up for life, Cannibal Holocaust will do it.
I like to say, if you like to have your eyeballs raped, then that would be...
And quite literally, and raped well. That's the thing, is it's not a bad movie. It's a good movie.
It's actually a really good movie.
It's a really good movie.
I just don't like when they tear that turtle apart. I couldn't take it.
There's so much stuff in
Kill
that
movie. Possum, man. I mean, it's so cruel. I mean, if you kill it to eat it, that's one thing, but killing it just to make a movie, god damn. But if we were talking about stuff that you could find on TV movies that were actually from the 70s or maybe 80s, and they're horror movies. There was one movie that I saw, and I think it was rerun, and I saw somebody watching it, and as a kid, it scared the shit out of me. But as an adult, it's the dumbest thing you'll ever see. It's Trilogy of Terror. You ever heard of this?
God! They show
Karen
bits.
Black?
They show the Karen Black scene all the time at the Alamo
Karen
Draft
Black
House.
is in every one of them. It's 3 stories, and each of them feature Karen Black.
Okay, I've only seen the one with the puppet.
Okay, yes. Karen Black is a character actor, big in the 80s and the 70s, and she's in this anthology, this horror anthology that was a TV movie. And I don't even remember the first 2, but that last one, when I was a kid and saw somebody watching it scared the fuck out of me.
Puppet.
It's a little Zulu puppet. Yeah. Look, it's a Zulu warrior doll, and it says, the directions on it say, do not take a chain off or something. She removes it. The thing comes to life, and it's such a stupid thing. It's a fucking puppet on a stick.
Yeah.
And you can see people working it, and when it's chasing her, it says, yeah. And she's running from it, like she locks the door and is sticking a knife under the door, and
she puts it in a suitcase and starts stabbing through the suitcase.
It's
so ridiculous.
But as a kid, it scared the fuck out of me. I think as an adult, I mean, it might even be a creepy concept if they did it again.
No.
But I feel like if they remade that and actually made it look like an actual demon doll that was coming after you, that could be kind of creepy.
No.
Not some Chucky shit.
No.
But
the doll's played out, dude. The doll is fucking played out.
Not this doll.
The doll is played out.
Not this, man. This doll is terrifying. A little doll.
When we were kids, yeah, but there's a lot of shit that scared the shit out of us.
I want somebody to bring that terror back. And properly. That doll scared the fuck out of me when I was a kid. But looking at it now, you could tell it's like a toy. It's not even. They don't even try to articulate the arms or anything. It's just
it's so fun. Like I said, they played at the Draft House a lot because it's really fucking funny. The first 8 times you watch it, and then it's just like, oh Jesus God, this is bad. Please stop.
Fucking Muppet running through the house.
No, it's not even a Muppet. That's the thing. It's not even a good puppet. It's just retarded.
It's almost as if you took like a Barbie doll and put it on a popsicle stick and made it bounce across the screen.
But that was made for TV movies for you, man. I mean, now we've got the made for cable movies, which are the same thing.
Yeah, Sci-Fi Channel, all that shit, man. Yeah, I mean, I watch so many bad horror movies on there with CG now. It's like CG has taken it. I never thought that CG could look worse than a fucking puppet on a stick, but Sci-Fi Channel has managed to do it.
There are times.
All right.
Now, keep in mind that the Sci-Fi Channel, the word sci-fi original doesn't actually denote that Sci-Fi Channel had anything to do with making the film. Sometimes it does, but a lot of the times they pick up independent films that just haven't gotten picked up and say, hey, we'd like to buy it for $400,000, to show as a sci-fi original.
Lionsgate, speaking of horror stuff, they were originally slated to release one of Marvel's I don't know if it was exactly a horror title, but The Man Thing.
Man Thing.
Yeah, and Lionsgate was going to release that, but they didn't. Yeah, I saw it. It was terrible, and it's actually a cool character. It was
Lionsgate
pretty much,
had the rights to a bunch of Marvel guys, and this killed it.
And and they took that and showed it on the Sci-Fi Channel. It's Swamp Thing. Anybody knows Swamp Thing from DC Comics? This is Marvel's answer to Swamp Thing, The Man Thing. They made a movie about the Man Thing, and it was terrible. But it was Sci-Fi Channel.
It was worse than Swamp Thing.
Man, have you ever seen Swamp Thing?
I love Swamp Thing.
And have you seen the sequel? I love the sequel. Return of Swamp Thing. No. Man, as a DVD movie or movie straight to video, that was actually pretty cool.
Nothing can beat Adrienne Barbeau in the Wes Craven original.
Oh man, well, Adrienne Barbeau got those, for lack of a better word, those titties, boy.
She did.
Are you crazy? Yeah.
I met Adrienne Barbeau last year.
Did she flash you?
No.
Oh, that's too bad then.
Dude, she's like 60. She was really hot back in the day, but now she doesn't even look like her.
Okay, that's curious to know. What does she look like today?
Completely different than she did 30 years ago.
And I guess that's not a good thing.
No,
she
looks like an older woman, but she doesn't. For some reason, she doesn't look anything like herself. I was introduced to her, and I'm like, "Oh, you got to be kidding! She doesn't look like anything like who she did." Okay, I think she had some work done, and it just went in a direction.
Did she get implants at least?
I mean, are
they down to her feet? Because she had big knockers, man.
She did.
That's what she was known for.
To be honest, I didn't even pay attention. It was one of those things where I was just awed by the fact that, oh my God, this is Adrienne Barbeau.
Okay,
like when I grew up, she was like the hottest thing.
Oh yeah, no, every kid was wanking at her. Now, when you looked at her, did the words "damn, she looks like shit" come to your mind?
No.
Okay, all right. Then. So
no, it wasn't anything mean or cruel like that. It was literally the weirdness that she didn't quite look like who she looked like back in the day. It was like transformational.
Okay. All right.
So
she morphed. All right. Oh, well, before we get out of here, I have an appropriate email.
An email.
Yeah, and it is, I think this is a good one for both of us to answer, is from Immaculate. Take that as you will.
I will.
And Immaculate says, I'm writing to tell you I'm not going to get to that part. Anyway, here's a question.
Good.
What do you think of the upcoming Friday the 13th movie? Looking forward to it? And what effect do you think Michael Bay will have on it? And could you please say what you think about the other Jason series? Well, I don't know what the other, I guess the originals, I guess is what he's saying, but that is from Immaculate, who Yeah, I thought he had a different name down here, but it just says respect. All right, so you're a big Michael Bay fan, first of all.
Well, I mean, I'm a Michael Bay fan, but Michael Bay is just a producer on there. And he's only a producer in the sense that it's his company that he started up, Platinum Dunes,
exactly. Which did
remaking
which did Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Now, I'm told that he's involved in these and that he comes in but he's very much about he brainstorms stuff, he kicks around ideas with the directors, but he's one of those guys who tries to stay hands off with the director and let the director make his own film and his own vision. That as a director himself, he tries to be the type of producer he likes to deal with. And that's what I've been told by a couple of different guys who have made films for Platinum Dunes. What do I think about this one? I think all they can do is improve it. The series got goddamn fucking ridiculous. They peaked at 7. And I've got to be honest, I was never in love with that series to begin with. I always thought it was a silly villain. I always thought he was a little too goofy. I mean, it's always been kind of one of those offensive things because they ripped off John Carpenter in a big way when they made this film. And then for years, Sean S.
And you're talking about they ripped off Halloween?
Yeah. And for years, Sean S. Cunningham was like, no, we didn't. And then about 10 years ago, he was like, yeah, no, we really did kind of rip off Halloween. We
Killer in the Mask, yeah.
It was, and they just, it was just it was always an excuse just to kill, fucking teenagers, literally fucking teenagers. And it just got more and more ridiculous. And then 7 was actually cool. I dig 7. That's the one where it's Jason versus the psychic.
The girl,
who can the telekinetic. And that's a cool one. They do some fun stuff with it. And then 8 is when Jason takes Manhattan.
And then they had Jason Goes to Hell.
It went off the rails because Jason Goes to Hell is all about creating some smartass thought he could actually create a cool mythology. And it was one of the most retarded things in the world where Jason is actually really just this like worm-like thing that's escaped hell. And then it just starts body hopping and Jason is really just this entity and the body of Jason is destroyed and all these other people start killing because this thing takes over them.
Yeah, exactly.
And then 10 was, Jason in space. And that's where they're like, fuck it.
You know something? And let me say, I saw the teaser for this new Friday the 13th, and as skeptical as I was, the teaser, and it's just a teaser. I don't know what to say. They show you a bunch of trees and shit, and they give you a little bit of that and then, yeah. And then they show the final shot where Jason is running up on some chick. Running up on her ass and is about to chop her. And I have to say, it looked cool. I'm like with anything else, it's a remake, so I will gladly just sit back and wait for it to come out and judge it appropriately when it comes out.
Now, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Look, Jason, Freddy, Pinhead, Michael, these are our generation's Universal monsters. These are Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, the Creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't care if they make 12 million remakes of these monsters because it's just a cool concept for a monster, and I'm always willing to see new takes on it because that's exactly what it is. You can never take the original away from me. You cannot come into my house and rob me of Halloween.
You could steal your mind.
You could take my copy, but they'll sell me another one. And so with this, is it an insult to the franchise or anything? No, it's not. In fact, if anything, I think at this point they could make Jason cool again.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll do that. As for the series, I'm like you. I was never that kid that grew up pretty much seeing slashers as my heroes, so I didn't give a shit about these movies. If they were cool, I thought they were cool. Like I went to go see Part 3. And that was in 3D, and I thought, hey, that's kind of fun, and it's stupid as shit. And that was the one where he first got his hockey mask. So I thought, like, hey, I was there for the beginning. But they did get progressively silly as they went along. And when they finally got to 10, I'm one of those few people that likes 10 because
I love 10. 10 was just goddamn ridiculous, but they literally threw up their arms and said, "Let's have fun."
And it gets crazy. They turn into almost a science fiction movie. They say, "Hey, what is the science behind Jason his regenerating power?" And then they go into space and he's built into like Jason 2.0 and shit. And I'm like, man, look, it got to a point where these were so stupid. Now you're going to start criticizing this?
But literally what they did in that was they made fun of the rest of the series. It was clear that this was a tongue-in-cheek movie. That great scene where he enters the holodeck and they recreate Camp Crystal Lake, and the two girls, like, they whip their tops off and they're like, we're going to have smoke pot and have premarital sex.
Oh, yeah.
And so, of course...
And he has that sleeping bag that he's beating up against a tree.
He loads them into a sleeping bag. He's whipping them across a tree, and they're like, ow, ow.
And he's confused and shit.
Yeah, because he doesn't get it, because he doesn't understand the holo technology.
No, I don't care what anybody says. And 10 is cool.
I love the final shot of that movie where, it's the two people and they're camping and Jason's been blasted out of the ship. And you just kind of see him streaking through the atmosphere and he's burning up, and it cuts down to these two who are camping and they go, oh, a shooting star. And
oh, yeah.
And it's like, that's fun. Okay, that's cool.
I mean, there are so many people who are offended by 10. I'm like,
fuck off.
Come on.
9 offended me.
Yeah,
8 offended me. 10 at least wanted to be
Jason
fun.
Takes Manhattan. That's offensive.
And now you want to talk about a film that got fucked by piracy. That was one of the first films to get screwed by piracy. It sat on a shelf for a year and a half, and as a result, a screener leaked and got online, and the opening weekend for that, it tanked because all the geeks that wanted to see it had already gotten bootlegs of it at horror conventions or had downloaded it.
And that was a clear screener too, because when people downloaded it, it was crystal clear, and it was like, damn, I'm watching the movie at home.
Yeah, no, that was one of the very first films to get fucked by piracy, and it's been infamous ever since for that fact.
So, well, hey, there you go, man. It's coming up on an hour right now.
Really? Already? Jesus Christ.
I know. Did you have anything else you wanted to do?
No.
You wanted to say?
No. I'm going to go home and do something incredibly nerdy. So I'm...
What are you going to do?
Oh, I'm waiting till 3 a.m. to call up this place in Britain called Forge World, and I'm making a very large, substantial order of geek toys.
Okay, goddamn. Sorry,
it's nerdy. You know how nerdy it is. I'm actually ordering the watchtower at Amansul on Weathertop.
You might as well just been speaking French to me. I don't know what the fuck that was.
Except that you do. You know that really awesome sequence in the first Lord of the Rings movie where they're on top of this big crumbling tower?
Yeah.
And the Nazguls come in, and it's where Frodo gets stabbed.
Yeah,
it's like this really cool.
So that's where he got stabbed
in.
In Frankenstein,
and it's called the Watchtower at Amansul on Weathertop, and there's a replica made from the cast from the movie, and it's perfectly scaled to 28 millimeter miniature wargaming.
You just had an orgasm right now, man.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be
pants
fucking
are all
sweet.
wet right now. Look at you,
dude. It's nerdly.
All right, man.
It's only $320. It's
well, I'm sure for a nerd like you, that's very much worth it, huh?
Dude, it's gonna be fucking awesome.
All right, well,
I can't wait.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you clean your pants, and we'll get on out of here. This has been a couple of cold ones.
Well, you know what? Before we say that, this is the last time I'll get a chance to say it before. But hey, guys, have a happy Halloween.
Oh yeah,
and we'll see you on the other side.
Oh,
good night, everybody.